Obadiah is a minor prophet in the Old Testament of the Bible. But then why are we showing pictures of Lindsay Lohan, Tila Tequila, and Amar Stoudemire? Well, as a matter of fact, he does have some things in common with all these people, believe it or not, as you'll see soon. Not everything is known to be completely sure about Obadiah's life, but we do know his book is part of the Hebrew Scriptures. Obadiah is said to have been born in the Edomite kingdom. He lived around 586 BC and became a Jewish convert after he grew up in Edom and became sick of the kingdom and joined the Israelites in their struggle against the Edomites. This is why we compared him to the three famous people, Lindsay Lohan, Tila Tequila, and Amar Stoudemire. They also converted to Judaism in the middle of their lives after being raised a different denomination. The two kingdoms had been wrestling for ultimate power over their lands for a long time. Their deep-rooted disgust of each other is believed to be rooted in the fact that Jacob and his brother Esau, ancestor to the Edomites, were enemies for most of their lives. His book calls the Israelites to rise up against Edom and to take them over once and for all, from Obadiah chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. This is what the sovereign Lord says about Edom. We have heard a message from the Lord, an envoy to the nations to say, "Rise, let us go against her for battle. See, I will make you small among nations. You will be utterly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you, you who live in the clefts of the rocks and make your home in the heights. You who say to yourself, who can bring me down to the ground?" Obadiah also preaches relational truth when it comes to brothers. He gives us advice on how to treat our brothers and what not to do, like rejoicing over your brother's disaster. Obadiah also outlined the potential consequences of harming your brother. This would have been great advice for Cain to hear before he killed Abel. Modern day, it also applies to anyone who has a brother, obviously, but also close friends. Another person this could apply to is someone in the military or on a sports team, where teammates and comrades are commonly referred to as brothers. If Obadiah were alive today, I think he would go to Iran and Israel. They have constantly been feuding. Iran refuses to acknowledge Israel as a country. That can be interpreted as a sign that Iran considers itself superior to Israel, like Edom to the Hebrews. The book of Obadiah would give hope to Israelis because Obadiah says that those being oppressed by other nations will be saved and the evil shall be punished. Obadiah's lesson would be important for people to hear in today's society because he preaches humility and humbleness. That is one lesson some people seem to have forgotten, especially famous athletes such as Richard Sherman.
Richard, let me ask you the final play. Take me through it.
Well, I'm the best corner in the game. When you try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you're going to get.
Haggai was a historical character who is credited as the author of his own book. He was from Judah, and just like Obadiah's book, Haggai's book is very short, only 2 chapters. Haggai might have been alive during the construction of the Second Temple of Jerusalem. We say might because there are conflicting theories as to when exactly he lived. He is generally thought of as one of the post-exile prophets, along with Zechariah and Malachi. According to the most popular idea, Haggai began his ministry about more than a decade after the Jews came back to Judah from their exile. The thing that Haggai preached most often about was the restoration of the Temple of Jerusalem. He believed it to be important that God have a house that was as nice as the people's own homes. However, some scholars believe that Haggai was taken captive as a slave to Babylon by their king Nebuchadnezzar. Unfortunately, it is not completely certain that this happened because we have no solid records of his life. However, if this did happen, it would have changed and affected how Haggai wrote and how he was as a prophet. He would not have written about the essential building of the Second Temple of Jerusalem. His works would have to have been taken in a different context because of what he was living through as a slave. Haggai was more than 70 years old when he delivered his prophecies. He had lived through a lot, and when he finally began preaching, he had a wise tone to his words. He had the benefit of hindsight to preach about the Israelites' difficulties, why they happened, and what his people must do to get back in God's good graces. This reminded us of Captain Hindsight from South Park, whose supernatural hindsight powers teach people important lessons.
Where are you, Captain Hindsight?
We're out, Captain Hindsight.
Wait! Look! Up in the sky!
It's him! My God, it's really him! He's come to help us! Captain Hindsight!
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed our presentation.